Is AGI inevitable in your opinion?
Close to inevitable. I mean, of course, an asteroid could hit the Earth and we're all wiped out.
Do you see what we currently have as an AGI arms race?
It seems you have the beginnings of an AGI arms race, both between US companies and between US and China. I don't think LLMs are going to be AGIs, but I think you can use them as valuable components. We're definitely into the part where AI is palpably accelerating the development of smarter AI. For various AI algorithms running on our core system, modern LLMs can get you 80% of the way there.
Artificial general intelligence, will it kill us or will it save us? Hello and welcome to TechFirst. My name is John Koetsier. AGI, or artificial general intelligence, is maybe the holy grail of computing. It's the ultimate in machine learning. Maybe it's what we've been building towards since Turing, since the first transistor, the first neural net, maybe since golems or mechanical Turks. But if we actually succeed, if we build machines that can think like humans or think differently than humans, reason, feel, create, what happens to us? We see a lot of AI being used right now in war, actually. We have Terminator drones, if we can call them that, and they're getting more and more intelligent. Where does it all end? To dive in, we're joined by Dr. Ben Goertzel. He's a CEO and founder of SingularityNET, author of too many books to list, and he'll be heading up the Beneficial AGI conference in Istanbul next week. Of course, this may publish next week, so it could be this week. Welcome, Ben. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, I'm
It's
here
a
in
li-
Istanbul. Here in Istanbul, already we're having a workshop of developers on our Hyperon AGI system. And then right after that, we have the Beneficial General Intelligence event, right? So it's a
Awesome.
break
Awesome.
break from sitting at home working on AGI. I'm getting to kind of jam together with my fellow AGI developers, and it's a super exciting time to be working on AGI now. I mean, it's really unprecedented.
Absolutely. I mean, the innovation is insane. The innovation is incredible. The speed is unbelievable. It's 11 p.m. for you. Yeah, I mean, thank you for taking this time. Let's start here. I started off with AGI. Will it kill us or save us? Is it going to be thumbs up or thumbs down?
Well, we don't know for sure, but I'm betting on thumbs up, and I'm working toward thumbs up. I think we've got to acknowledge it's an unprecedented situation, and we certainly can't predict with certainty. But there's no reason to make dystopic assumptions. I mean, I think there's every reason to believe we can create artificial general intelligence systems that will be beneficially disposed toward us and respect us, and work with us together to make the world better and better for human and digital life. And now
Mm-hmm.
is the time to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Maybe let's take a step back and we'll approach it from a different angle in a moment. The step back is AGI inevitable? I mean, there's some people who say that we have AGI right now. Even, ChatGPT is evidence of that because it's better than most humans in most areas. We have people saying, no, that's a total dead end and it's not even close. Is AGI inevitable in your opinion?
Close to inevitable. I mean, of course, an asteroid could hit the Earth and we're all wiped out, right? I mean,
Yes.
we could all wake up and realize we're actually butterflies dreaming that we're humans or something. But I mean, I think if modern technological society continues without any huge calamities occurring, yeah, it's basically inevitable. I mean, in the same sense that once you got to towns and villages, unless you were in an extraordinary situation like the Australian outback, then cities were going to happen, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
AI delivers great value to people, economic value, human value, and entertainment value, and making it smarter will allow it to deliver more and more value to people. So people will keep on building it, right? And I mean, in the end, our brains can be viewed as complex biological machines, Not to
Mhm.
say that's the only perspective. There's consciousness and spirit, but I mean, from a neuroscience perspective, our thinking is a complex biophysical process, and there's no reason we can't make even more complex and smarter cognitive processes in different sorts of machines. And
Mhm.
while LLMs are not AGIs in the sense that I meant when I defined the word AGI in 2005, I mean, while LLMs are not AGIs, there's certainly significant progress in that direction, right? And significant evidence that we really can get there.
Let's step back to your definition from 2005. What is AGI in your opinion?
What I meant at that point when I released a book titled Artificial General Intelligence in 2005, which is sort of what put the term on the map, what I meant was a system that can generalize pretty far beyond its training or its programming. And humans, in that sense, are not the Rosetta. We're not like the definition of AGI, right? We're not.
Mhm. Mhm.
Humans are not the ultimate general intelligence. However, we have a greater ability to generalize beyond our training and programming than any computer system that exists right now, right? And so a human level AGI would be a system that can generalize beyond its history, at least as well as people can. And
Mhm.
then you get on to superintelligence, which is systems that can generalize beyond their history way, way better than people. And what's confusing with modern LLMs is they have a quite broad scope of knowledge, but they're actually mediocre at the act of generalization. They achieve their broad scope of knowledge by having an insanely broad scope of training data.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good definition, actually. And it tells us, hey, AGI isn't necessarily a feeling thing, isn't necessarily have emotions or something like that. It's about intelligence that's generalizable beyond its programming.
Well, that
And we
that's
have some,
that's right. An AGI doesn't have to have feelings or emotions. On the other hand, if you have an intelligent agent which is acting in the world according to certain goals and trying to achieve things, then I think it's the agentic aspect that leads to emotion, right? Because
Mhm.
if you're an
Mhm.
agent trying to achieve things, I mean, you may be frustrated when you can't achieve things. And
Mhm.
when your existence is threatened, you may feel something and want to maintain your existence, right? So it's I think an oracle that could just answer questions and generalize really well to new questions doesn't have to be so emotional.
Yeah.
An agent is going to be emotional in some sense. Now, it could be emotional in an enlightened sense where its feeling of frustration arises and floats away, like when you're in the middle of a deep meditation, right? So I mean,
Mhm.
the fact that some level of emotion is imminent in agency doesn't mean an AI has to be wrapped up in its emotions in the way that people are sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it does give a certain emotional contour to the AGI's experience. And we see now agency becoming a thing in the AI world also, right? Like people
Mhm. Mhm.
people don't want AIs just to answer questions and have a chat with them. They want the AI to be able to take a
Do some
general
work.
instruction and then go do particular things. They want to do some work
Mhm.
for them. That's right. So we're
Mhm.
getting agency along with our AI. And so I
Yeah.
think we're moving toward artificially general intelligent agents, not just highly general question answering systems.
Interesting. Interesting. Do you see what we currently have as an AGI arms race? And there's a lot of different levels to that, right? You've got corporations that are buying hundreds of thousands of GPUs, OpenAI that is putting together contracts and deals with all the other major companies on the planet, it seems like
Yeah,
sometimes.
it
But you also
seems
have
it
nation
seems
states doing similar things.
yeah, it seems you have the beginnings of an AGI arms race, both between US companies and between US and China. The
Hmm.
Chinese companies are more collaborative with each other than US companies because the government sort of compels it. You
Yes.
then have the decentralized AI ecosystem, which I'm trying to turn into a major competitor and winner in this race. And then the decentralized ecosystem is sort of a third group apart from the Chinese government
Hmm.
and its
Hmm.
ancillary companies, and then the assemblage of US big tech companies. And I mean, I think the US government and military and intelligence world are closely linked with the US big tech companies, but they're not yet calling the shots in the way that the Chinese government is with Chinese tech
Hmm.
companies. I mean that
Hmm.
could change depending on how U.S. politics evolves or devolves, right?
We didn't assume that the US government taking a 10% share in Intel was on the bingo card for 2025, did we?
Yeah, well, that's right. And Trump is strongly inclined toward arms race type rhetoric, and various folks in the Trump administration have pretty much declared it's an AI arms race with China. So that they're very much looking at it that way. In terms of decentralization, Trump has been very good for the crypto world, but it hasn't occurred to him that
The crypto
blockchain
world has
could,
been very good for him too.
as well the age old love affair between money and politics, right? But
Yes.
on the other
Yes.
hand, I don't think it's occurred to either Trump or the Chinese government that blockchain could be a transformative force in AI, right? Which is part of what I'm working on with my team in SingularityNET and ASI Alliance. Because
Hmm.
if you think about the logic of it, setting aside the question of what algorithms will be used to achieve AGI, which is an interesting one that we could chat about, how the AGI is rolled out will also make a big difference, right? Like if it's rolled out in a Chinese company's server farm or in Google's server farm, which is half a step away from control by the US government, or if it's rolled out on a network of 1,000 server farms in 100 different countries, this
Hmm.
doesn't necessarily make a difference to the thinking process of the AGI. It makes a difference to what parties can control that thinking process, right?
Yes, or attempt to. Exactly. Interesting. I want to talk about the decentralization thing in a moment because it's potentially a hedge on the risks of the other options, right? I mean, so
Yeah.
I asked about an AGI arms race, and one of the reasons that concerns me is that we see humans who are kind of programmed, brainwashed, right, to believe and to do completely inhumane things, right? And the risk is potentially that we create an AGI that has a certain worldview based on facts that it has been given. And if it's smart enough, maybe it'll transcend that, but maybe it won't, or maybe it can't, or maybe it's blocked, or maybe there's attempts, or who knows what. But we have risks of creating narrow AGIs, if I can put it that way, or bounded AGIs
Well, you have a risk of
that could
creating
be,
narrow-minded AGIs, and we have many
yes,
narrow-minded general natural intelligences,
yes,
right?
don't we?
I mean, yeah, having
Artificially
the
limited.
ability to generalize does not necessarily make you wise, right? It doesn't necessarily give you deep self-understanding. It doesn't necessarily give you the understanding of others or even the desire to have an understanding of others because you have
Hmm.
very generally intelligent psychopaths, right?
Hmm.
Among the human species. And we would rather not build those. But there's an argument that being a very intelligent psychopath could make you a good soldier.
Yes, very good soldier.
So yeah, that's a worry, and it's interesting that I spent 9 years doing AI consulting for U.S. Army intelligence, and a number of years ago, like a previous part of my career. And
Yeah.
I mean, what I found was interesting was, I mean, in that era, in the early aughts, the U.S. military was still the best funder of interesting AI work. I mean, the U.S. military literally invented AI
Yeah.
way back in the
DARPA.
50s. Yeah. And what you found is, I mean, they were doing a lot of things I really didn't agree with. I mean, this was the time of like the Abu Ghraib prison atrocities in Iraq and so on. On the other hand, every person I was working with who was engaged with these things believed it was good and right. Like none of them thought they're doing nasty stuff. They were just like, well, of course we tortured those guys, and they tortured our guys, and they would torture you if they could get their hands on you. And
Wow.
they're sort of right. I mean, Taliban probably would have tortured me if they got their hands on me, right? So what you see is all the parties involved, most of them genuinely believe they're on the side of the
Goodness
good
and
and the
light.
right. And the
Yep.
Chinese government certainly does. Like, 80+% of people lifted out of poverty in the last 40 years are in mainland China, right? I mean, the CCP has done plenty of good for the world. So, yeah, you have humans who believe they're on the side of the good and the right, and they're stuck in a very blinkered worldview. And they can create AIs to reflect their worldview, but with more power than what they have. And if you have
Yes.
this enacted on the theater of the earth with all of us as bystanders, we could become casualties, right? And that I don't think that's guaranteed to happen at all. I mean, I think building decentralized systems, as you alluded, that's a path around that, because then we can't stop Iran or China from using Linux. We
No.
don't try. They're using it, and it's okay, right? And in the same way, if you have an AI rolled out in a fully open and decentralized way, it will be taken for granted that like this is a utility thing that is imminent in all these computer networks around the world. And I mean, that's just what it is. And then governments will adapt to that the way they've adapted to Linux and resources like GitHub or Archive, which AI researchers in China use routinely, right? And Archive accepts papers from researchers in Tehran, even though as an American you can't exchange money because there's no money involved, right? So, I mean, decentralization and open source are sort of off to the side of all these geopolitical power structures, at least so far, which is interesting. I don't think that's the only possible salvation, but it seems like a very good thing to have there. I mean, I would say even without decentralization, which is one of my big things, like the folks running the US government or the Chinese government totally do not want to kill all humans, right? I mean, everyone involved has a common interest in the
Maybe just
continuation.
some humans,
Well, yeah, maybe some
certain
humans.
ones.
Just the bad ones who don't look like you, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
But I mean, I think there was a movie in the late 60s, early 70s called Colossus, the Forbin Project. It wasn't a great movie, but it was an interesting plot. The US and the Soviet Union each made a very powerful supercomputer as part of an AI arms race. Then the supercomputers start talking to each other and they're like, why the hell are we fighting with each other at the behest of these stupid meat machines? And they just made an alliance and sort of took control of the situation.
That is the hope, right? That is the dream. And we see that playing out in the real world, even at our current state of technology, where you see Grok, for instance, XAI's LLM saying one thing one day, and then the weights have changed, or some inputs have changed, or the startup instructions
Yeah,
have
I
changed,
mean,
and boom, reality changed.
these systems don't fundamentally understand anything, right? I mean,
True.
they're very sophisticated stochastic parrots, and they're incredibly useful, and they're accelerating research and development on the path to actual AGI. But I don't think LLMs in themselves can be scaled up into AGI, and because they have no self and no autonomy and no understanding, whatever they spew out at any given moment, it just pretty much reflects what data was fed in and what people said to them, right? So, I mean, I've been working on very different AGI architectures. However, one thing we're seeing at our AGI workshop that I'm here at in Istanbul right now is LLMs can still be very, very helpful, even if they're not your core engine. So, as one example, we have a logical reasoning engine. It's not an LLM, it does actual mathematical probabilistic logic to come up with grounded conclusions based on facts. On the other hand, what we're working on today, you can use an LLM to sketch suggested inference paths for a reasoning engine.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a question, you have a knowledge base, you can ask an LLM, okay, how would you evaluate this question given this knowledge base? Get LLMs to give you a bunch of potential reasoning chains, and you can then use those as suggestions to a logical reasoning engine that tries to do actual
Interesting.
logic to follow the trace of what the LLM has traced out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then when you're in a domain where the LLM knows a lot, that's very helpful. When you're not, the reasoning engine can still do something. It's just
Yeah.
slower, right? Because it
Yeah.
has to just
Yeah.
explore a whole lot of options without the guidance from the language model. So I
Huh.
think in this way and many other ways, having LLMs, it not only makes research and coding faster, they can
Yeah.
actually be knowledge oracles to help guide other AI systems in doing their thing. So like we're building what's called the ASI chain, which is a blockchain aimed at decentralizing AI at a fundamental level. So we can put AI processes in the smart contracts of the blockchain, but with a new programming language, right? But when we do that, we will have some LLMs and then some reasoning engines and some evolutionary learning engines coming up with weird creative ideas. We will have each of these living in nodes on this blockchain, and they're all helping each other and communicating with each other. So I think in this way, I'm normally kind of an extremist, right? But in this way, I'm sort of in the middle of the road in the AI field because you have
Yes.
people who think LLMs are the thing and are going to get there. And then you have people who think LLMs are, as Jan LeCun from Facebook said, they're an off ramp on the highway to AGI,
Yeah.
right? And my
Yeah.
friend Gary Marcus thinks that, right? And I'm sort of in the middle. I don't think LLMs are going to be AGIs, but I think you can use them as valuable components together with other components, and they do give something that you don't get elsewhere, which is just like a tap of all human knowledge that you can just
I know
turn on, right?
exactly.
I mean that's a really it's a cool thing to have, even if it doesn't solve every problem that you need to solve to make a human level AGI.
It's super interesting what you said because there's a couple things I'm taking out of that. One is they help you on the path as you're building one of the core bits, one of the key bits of AGI, but also they're a component of that AGI in some sense. And that's almost kind of mimicking some of the biological models that we have,
Yeah,
right? Where there are
yeah,
different areas of our brain. There's long-term storage and that can be corrupted, it can be wrong. We can believe things are true that are not true, right? Like LLMs in some cases. We can hallucinate, maybe not as much as LLMs, maybe more, depending on what we've ingested or not, right? But then we also have a reasoning engine with some common sense and some heuristics of what works in the world and what happens. So it's kind of interesting to put all those
yeah.
things
There's a
together.
difference. So our hallucination is driven by emotion largely. Our memory is constructive, and we build the story that we want to hear from our memory. So our hallucination is driven by our emotion, which is driven by our agency. The
Hmm.
LLM's hallucination is not, right.
Yes, yes.
It's more. It's just an artifact of the fact that it's designed to predict the next token, and if there's no
Yeah,
solid prediction, it'll just make something up. So I mean,
yeah.
I think there's somewhat of an analogy there, but it would it yeah it will be stronger if you had LLMs that could update their links in real time and that were controlling active agents. And we might
Huh.
have that in a couple of years, though, right? So, I mean, maybe
Or
it's
sooner.
yeah, maybe GPT 6 or 7 will be able to serve as more of a full fledged component of the unconscious, like
Eh,
you're thinking, right? So there,
huh.
I would want to clarify one thing. So LLMs we cannot use to help build the core of an AGI system now. Like they're not good enough at coding.
Hmm.
I use them to prototype ideas. Like if I come up with a new algorithm,
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
just have an LLM spin up some Python code, or even can even code Meta, our new programming language. You just have it spin up some code to prototype an idea. It's throwaway code, but it lets you test the idea in like 2 hours instead of 3 days or something, right? And
Nice. Nice.
for various AI algorithms running on our core system, modern LLMs can get you 80% of the way there. For
Huh.
coding the core engine of an AGI system, it is much too hard for current LLMs to help with the coding. On the other hand, you can generate unit tests and software testing frameworks. So you can
Hmm.
generate a lot of peripheral stuff. If you want to load
Yeah.
data into your system, the LLM can write scripts to clean up the data for loading into your system. So even though it
Yeah.
can't help with building a core system, there's all this other stuff that you have to do, which is much
Yeah.
simpler, which the LLM is very good at. We're definitely into the part where AI is palpably accelerating the development of smarter AI. It's using
Nice.
humans as the medium to do so, right? I mean, when you're at the
You're the
singularity,
agent.
AI
You're the
is just
agent.
building the smarter AI on its own without needing humans in the loop. Now the
Yeah.
AI is building smarter AI with humans in the loop.
Yeah. 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 Very, very cool. Maybe let's call it to a close here. It's almost midnight your time. You've got another meeting. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, building beneficial AGI is this is the time to do it, right? So I mean,
you're
I
right.
mean,
You're right.
all of us involved are pushing pretty hard at this moment.
That's awesome. So maybe this is the place to call to wrap up our conversation. Last time we chatted, you said AGI is not far off. What are your thoughts on that today?
Well, I still think it's not far off. It's closer than last time, right? I mean, so Ray Kurzweil, in his book *The Singularity is Near*, thought we'd have human level AGI in 2029. No, he said that in 2005, based on some curve plotting. He also thought we wouldn't get superintelligence till 2045. I think it's clear to almost everyone now that the gap between human level AGI and superintelligence is not likely to be 16 years. On
Yes.
the other hand, his 2029 date doesn't look stupid. I mean, could we get there in 2 years instead? We absolutely could. But I mean, if it takes 4 years to hit Ray's date, I won't be utterly shocked
Yeah.
either. I
Yeah.
mean, I would say now with my own work, we've been working 2 years building a new AGI programming language. And just like 2 weeks ago, we got it to work fast. So now we're like,
Nice.
hey, let's take all of our AI algorithms and port them to the new fast compiler and language dialect and sort of
Mhm.
see what jumps out as we do this during the next 6 months, right? So it's
How can I
very
end a
soon.
podcast when you just threw a grenade there? I mean, why you new programming? Why did you need a new programming language for AGI? I got to ask that question. I can't leave that unasked.
Because we had a bunch of cognitive algorithms that we were interested in, ways of forming concepts, of doing reasoning, of doing learning. And I mean, we wanted to be able to write very concise, simple code that would do these algorithms and run fast. It's
Hmm.
both because if you're doing a bunch of research and experimentation, you need concise, simple code that's easy to monkey with.
Yeah.
And also because if you want a recursive loop where the AI is writing its own code, having concise and simple code lets that loop happen sooner. It
Huh.
also happens that our new language can be used as a smart contract language, so we can run AI algorithms on chain.
Whoa. Okay. What's the name of this language?
Meta, METTA.
It's almost like I've heard of a company like that with one
Well,
fewer T, but
like
yeah.
2 months after we announced the name of the language, they changed their name to Meta.
How dare
Then I,
they?
then I created the Artificial Superintelligence Alliance. And then maybe 9 months after that, Meta rebranded their AI group as the Superintelligence Division, right? So
Come
we're
on, no originality.
we're projecting memes all over the place, right? But the word
Well,
METTA is a Sanskrit Buddhist term for loving kindness, actually.
excellent. Excellent. Ben, thank you so much for this time late in your day. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Looking forward to seeing Istanbul and having the conference as well. Have yourself a great evening.
Thanks a lot.